Hey everybody, it's the Goal 60 here with Week 2 2017 college football. So this is the first of the two videos for this week. The first video I'm going to try to get all the college football in, and the second video is going to be the NFL Week 1. So before we get started, just want to remind everybody that everything you hear on this video and such, and read the blog on my website, is all for my opinion. So, take that with a grain of salt or go against me or whatever you want to do. That's fine. I do want to thank you already for watching this video, and hopefully that you'll like and share it. And check us out at the Goal 60 on Twitter, and the website for all the write-ups and to go along with this video, thegoal60.com. So we'll jump on in. Recap Week 1. We did go 1-2, and I'll go over those three real quick. The first one we had was Cal plus 12.5. They did win that game outright over North Carolina in Week 1. Alabama and Florida State, we took the over 49, and unfortunately they only scored 31 points. So if you did watch this game, you'll know exactly what I'm about to say, and that is that between the two teams, there was 8 trips inside the opponent's 30, and only twice did the team come out with points. So if we would have just got 3 other scores, somehow we would have covered this. So I do think that we were on the right side as far as the number goes, but it didn't cash because simply they didn't score enough points. Any other game, I think we would have been okay there. With 8 trips inside the 30, that's hard not to get points with. A couple missed field goals, a block punt, several things like that just led to us not getting the points that we needed. And last, on Sunday night, we had West Virginia plus the 4.5 against Virginia Tech. And if you watched last week's video, you'll know that I actually said that these two teams would be 31-31 at the end of regulation going into overtime. I predicted a very close game, and that's exactly what we had. With about 20 seconds left, we had a chance to tie it up at 31-31 with West Virginia and come up about 20 yards short. So if you watched that game and you watched my video last week, you know that we were right there at it. We just needed Will Greer to come up with some magic and score a touchdown, and unfortunately that didn't happen. With that, West Virginia lost 31-24, and which is a 7-point loss, and we didn't cover 4.5. So that's a recap of the 3 games we had last week. Hopefully we'll get on the right side this week and have some luck fall our way. So I'll jump right into the 3 games that I want to talk about this week. The first is Iowa and Iowa State. Currently the line is Iowa minus 2.5 with an over-under 48. The game has finished in the 40s 3 of the last 4 meetings. The 5 years ago it was something like 9-6. Ever since then, a lot of points have been scored in this game. The total is at the higher end of the 40s, so we will need some good offense to, get us into the low 50s, maybe if we want with the over/under. So just to go over some projected stats, I have Iowa rushing between 200 and 210 yards, while passing for 220 to 230 yards. I have Iowa State rushing between 150 and 160 yards, and passing for 210 to 220. I have this projected finish to be 33-29, giving us 62 total points, which is right at 2 touchdowns above the posted total of 48. A couple trends to go with this. Iowa State is 4-0 to the over the last 4 games overall. They're 10-1-1 to the over the last 12 games after a straight-up win. Iowa's 4-1 to the under the last 5 games overall, but is 6-1 to the over the last 7 games as a 0 to 4 point favorite. So you can get all of these trends and this write-up on the blog at thegoal60.com. And so with this game, I think the over 48 is the play. So, if we get 7 touchdowns, that'd be 49 points, so I think we'll be fine there. It's probably going to come down to a nail-biter. It's going to be right at the end. Hopefully not. Hopefully we cover by halftime. But again, I think Iowa State goes over the 48. The second game this week is the primetime game, Oklahoma and Ohio State. Currently the line is Ohio State minus 7 and a hook, and the over-under 65. So last year these two teams met in Norman, Oklahoma, and Ohio State just flat out went down there and kicked some tail. So Ohio State whipped up on Oklahoma last year in their home stadium, and I think that there's some revenge there. So I factored that in. I gave Oklahoma 3 points for that revenge, but it also canceled out with Ohio State having the home field advantage this year in Columbus. So both of those to me is worth around 3 points each, which cancels them out and brings them back to even. The last time that Ohio State played a ranked team in a non-conference game was in 2010, or at home was in 2010 against Miami. Ohio State is 17-19 as a home favorite under Urban Meyer. And I projected these stats of Oklahoma rushing between 160 to 180 yards, passing between 300 and 310, which would mean that Baker Mayfield is going to have a great night on the road. I think he can against this secondary. I think that's one of the only weak spots that Ohio State has. I have Ohio State rushing between 200 and 210 and passing between 260 and 280. So my projected score for this game is 42-40. So that's 82 points, and it also brings us to a 2-point game. So obviously that would mean that we had a great shootout on Saturday night. With 2 points, I'm obviously looking at taking the plus 7.5. So a few trends to look at for this week that just really stood out to me when I was looking through this games is Ohio State is 3-7, their last 10 as a favorite. Ohio State is 2-6, their last 8 after a straight up win against the spread. Oklahoma is 4-1, the last 5 as an underdog. And also Oklahoma is 4-0, their last 4 after a straight up win. So I think that going into this game, it's a great opportunity for Baker Mayfield to get a big win. It's also a great opportunity for his coach, Lincoln Riley, to come up with a huge road win or at least keep it close. And with me projecting that it's going to be a 2-point game, that gives us a 5.5-point cushion. I just think this is going to be a great game for Saturday night, and I hope you're looking forward to it as much as I am. So the play for me is Oklahoma plus 7.5. And finally, we come down to the last game of the week as far as the games that I'm giving out and doing blogs on and write-ups on, is TCU and Arkansas. TCU is currently a 3.5-point favorite, while the over-under is 58. This game will be played in Fayetteville, Arkansas, so it's not in Little Rock. A lot of Arkansas games are played in Little Rock, the state capital, so that wouldn't be out of the norm for that to happen, but they did play there last week. They'll be at home in Fayetteville this week. TCU lost this game last year after having a 2-touchdown lead late in the fourth. The game went into overtime, and Arkansas came away with a win. So for that reason, I look for TCU to have a little bit of revenge in their mind this week. They want to come in just like Oklahoma in the last projection. I think TCU comes in and wants to win this game bad. It's a chance for them to get some revenge. It's also a chance to just flat out beat the SEC. So anytime other teams get that, they love to do it. They love to, get that win under their belt. Arkansas is down a DB this week. They lost one of their starters last week. Both teams combined to win last week 112-7. So obviously both teams had a lot of offense. They got a lot of players in, some reps. But on the other side, they didn't get a lot of experience on defense simply because with defense you need competition. You need somebody to step up. With offense, you want to get in timing. You want your routes to be good. You want your quarterback to receiver, your offensive line gelling together. So this actually worked a lot better last week for both teams on the offense than it did on the defense, in my opinion. I project that TCU is going to rush between 190 and 200 yards while passing between 250 to 260. I got Arkansas rushing between 175 to 190 yards and passing between 230 to 250. So a lot of offense here. My projected score is 42-36 TCU, which would give us 78 total points, which is a full 20 points above the posted total of 58. So if we can just get, that's almost 3 touchdowns above the total that's posted currently, I think that's a pretty good lean. And the trends that stand out to me this week is Arkansas is 40-19 to the over after their previous opponent was held under 3 touchdowns. So last week they gave up 7. So this is why that fits in there. And also on the flip side, TCU is 5-2 the last 7 with the same stat. So if they're the week before they held their opponent below 3 touchdowns, they come out and they play pretty hard to the over. Arkansas is 7-3 the last 10 to the over after a straight up win. TCU is 6-2 the last 8 to the over in non-conference games, and 4-0 the last 4 to the over as a away favorite of 0 to 4 points. To me, the side to take here is taking the over 58. I think there's going to be a ton of points scored in this, just like the other 2 games that I've pointed out. And so the over 58 is the play. Just to recap, I'm taking TCU, Arkansas over 58, Iowa State over 48, and Oklahoma plus the 7.5. To go over some leans, I actually had a lot of leans this week when I projected all these games. And I'll just run through those really quick. Ohio State over 65. South Carolina, Missouri under 72. TCU minus the 3.5. Boston College, Wake Forest over 42.5. Minnesota plus 2. Stanford, USC over 56. And Pittsburgh plus the 21. Of course, if you'll go to thegoal60.com, you'll see the blog there. I'll have all these write-ups underneath this video. Watch the videos, like, share it, please. Check us out at the Goal 60 on Twitter, and I'll see you next week.